adaptarnos a los nuevos tiempos, reinventarnos, desaparecer para crear un nuevo sistema moderno y eficaz que ya se entiende por todas partes.
Hi, I'm Todd Gannon, and this is the SCI-Arc channel. I'm here with Hernan Diaz-Alonso, director of the school. Hernan, your first time through as director. We've got a new undergraduate chair with Tom Wiscombe, a new undergraduate thesis coordinator with Marcelin Gao. What are you expecting out of the new lineup?
Excellence, glory, fortune, and everything in between.
Ultimately, I think the most important thing is that it's about the students' 5th year of study in the program. And in that 5th year, they both are speculating in territory of their own invention, but they're also building on all of the skills and the repertoire and the sensibilities that they've developed over the other 4 years. So this is our chance to see really not just where they are today, but where we think they might be going in the years after they leave SCI-Arc.
As a thesis, and we'll probably see this throughout the next 2 days, what's more important than what these guys present today is how they read the work for the next 2 or 3 decades.
I like this version because anonymous architect, if he or she were alive today, would only draw it this way too.
It's interesting that the byproduct that was not a stated objective, in some ways for me, is almost more interesting than the objective.
There seem to be, on the whole, fewer renderings and more plans and sections.
I think what Tom and Marcelin are trying to redefine is a little bit more the idea of the production of the building as a thesis and theoretical problem. Instead to have like a, let's say, a pure abstract conception of a thesis argument, the thesis has to emanate from the production of architecture.
Everyone in the thesis class this year has produced a building, and each one of those buildings we've really pushed for some large-scale models and a range of really comprehensive drawings.
I'm looking at the plans and looking for the 2-story spaces that occur between figures.
I think the most powerful thing are these chunks. That they're like puzzle pieces, but they're not because they don't fully snap together and fit.
These amazing spaces that I can just imagine walking through there.
The potential is that those chunks could be all the classrooms and the admin spaces that are held within a semi-continuous gallery space, which is the gaps.
I just want to bring that kind of the infrastructural thinking that would be required to loosen it up from its formality, from its monumentality.
One of the things that Marcelin and I wanted to do with Thesis this year is to ask the students take positions in the architectural discipline, but then apply those positions to projects that are out in the world and on the boards.
This project is located in Aarhus, Denmark.
This is our proposal for the Varna Public Library.
My project is located in Otaku, Japan.
The students, in the development of these large-scale models, they really have to think about the tectonic of the model. So really moving it from being a representational technique to something that has a very particular tectonic that might speak about how this could be built on a larger scale as a building. So we're seeing a lot of combinations of multimedia models. So there's some laser cutting, there's some 3D printing or even layered 3D printing combined with the laser cut combined with CNC milling.
I really like that. I mean, I would imagine like in a museum, if I could walk in these gaps and then I come into the gallery, which is like this mass, I think that's fantastic.
These models, they don't isolate the project, they work with the site.
Where would we, as spectators, witness those acts? Because inevitably, this is being made with some intention of acquiring human reactions.
This year, by actually introducing the kind of spectrum of different project proposals that the students could work on, it really focuses, I think, the discussion on how we translate concepts into architectural projects, how we materialize them, how we move from something that is more of a kind of conceptual and theoretical thesis and test it out on a site.
My thesis began with an interest in the caricature-like qualities of linear profiles.
The project is a brutalist building that was built during the communist era of Russia. And right now it's sort of this crumbling relic nobody wants to destroy.
This allows for the slippage between physical fact and psychic effect.
So it's a kind of collision between having an architectural position, which might be more academic, and then the reality on the ground.
In many, many ways you can see it as the conclusion or the synthesis of education but also, and we hope actually more, that it becomes the seed of an architectural career that will launch from some of these ideas.
I'm the one interested in both architecture as a social art form and operational strategies which are decipherable and discussable and collective.
And it becomes actually a weirdly mechanical process, the one that a building has in relationship to the city, which is not a usual one.
I can't help seeing that. I'm just curious if that played into your approach at all, or your intention.
It has to have, the rules of the game have to be clear. And I think that's where the criticism is. I still don't get what are the rules of the game.
But it's really about a point of view. There's something where form and shape and space means something else.
This is a moment in medicine, they call it crisis. And actually, I think thesis is exactly that, is that moment where you're like going to the doctor and you're like, am I gonna get worse or am I gonna get better? And the doctor's like, take this and you get better. Take this, you'll get worse. And you have to pick.
I don't see thesis at SCI-Arc as the last project at the end of the curriculum, but really the first professional project, like their first project as architects.
There is a level of optimism floating in the room that I hope that in the discussion keep going, and I hope there's something they can carry on with them for the rest of their career.
Para adaptarnos a los nuevos tiempos, reinventarnos, desaparecer, para crear un nuevo sistema moderno y eficaz que ya se entiende por todas partes.